In 2013, a 29-year-old contractor walked out of an NSA office in Hawaii. With him, he carried a secret archive that would forever change how the world understands surveillance. His name was Edward Snowden. He flew to Hong Kong, met with reporters, and the first stories landed like thunder. Within weeks, governments, corporations, and billions of ordinary people learned that the internet itself had been quietly repurposed into a vast listening device. Snowden said his goal wasn't to burn down intelligence agencies. It was to ask a basic question. What is acceptable in a democracy when nobody knows what's being done in their name? The first program the world heard about was called PRISM. It wasn't science fiction. PRISM allowed the NSA to collect stored internet communications, emails, chats, files directly from U.S. tech companies. This was done under legal orders tied to Section 702 of the FISA Amendments Act. Leaked slides, listed names we all knew. Microsoft, Yahoo, Google, Facebook, Apple. PRISM was the front door compelled access through court orders. Not hacking, but on an extraordinary scale. At the very same time, another operation was targeting the backbone of the web itself. In a program revealed by the Washington Post from Snowden's documents, the NSA and its British counterpart GCHQ tapped into the private fiber optic links connecting Google and Yahoo data centers. They were siphoning data as it flowed between these overseas facilities, inside the company's own private clouds. Internally, this program was called MUSCULAR. It ran parallel to PRISM. If PRISM was the front door, MUSCULAR was the unguarded back window. Then there was XKeyscore. This wasn't just a single tap. It was a powerful search interface for almost everything. Training materials described it as a system that analysts could use to query both metadata and content across massive streams of collected data. Emails, web browsing history, social media activity, even digital footprints left by users without a known account name. In simple terms, XKeyscore made the internet searchable for intelligence analysts, subject to certain rules, but far more powerful and flexible than most people could have ever imagined. And to keep track of all this collection, there was another tool, Boundless Informant. This program didn't collect data, it counted it. It visualized where the NSA had coverage and how much, offering managers a global heat map showing collection volume by country and by source. That bird's-eye view directly contradicted public assurances that bulk collection on a worldwide scale just wasn't happening. The map showed otherwise. Text messages weren't off the grid either. Under a program called DISHFIRE, the NSA was ingesting hundreds of millions of SMS messages every single day. From these texts, they extracted travel itineraries, contact networks, financial alerts, and more. A companion program, Prefer, automatically analyzed those messages for intelligence value. This wasn't a narrow, targeted wiretap. It was like dragging a net across an entire ocean of communication, then sifting through the catch for patterns. Across the Atlantic, Britain's GCHQ ran its own massive collection program called TEMPORA. They tapped directly into the huge fiber optic cables landing on UK shores. For a limited time, vast amounts of phone and internet traffic could be buffered and searched using thousands of selectors. The results were then shared widely within the Five Eyes Intelligence Alliance, which includes the US, UK, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. Think of it as placing enormous nets across the great rivers of the internet. But GCHQ didn't just want to watch. When they wanted to actively shape an online environment, they turned to a special unit called JTRIG, the Joint Threat Research Intelligence Group. Snowden's documents described operations to destroy, deny, degrade, and disrupt. This included disinformation campaigns, efforts to damage reputations, and other effects operations against targets ranging from hackers to broader online communities. This was influence and manipulation, not just collection. These disclosures triggered a global reckoning. While some programs were targeted and court-authorized, aimed at foreign intelligence, their sheer scale and their proximity to the consumer platforms and network backbones we all use challenged public assumptions about privacy in a connected world. Even the tech companies appeared in the slides, sometimes as compelled partners under secret court orders, and sometimes as victims of backbone taps they never even knew existed. What the archive truly showed was an ecosystem, not a single switch. It was a combination of front-door legal processes like PRISM, upstream taps on internet infrastructure like TEMPORA and MUSCULAR, Powerful query engines like XKeyscore, visualization dashboards like Boundless Informant, and automated extraction systems like DISHFIRE. Together, they formed a reality of modern surveillance that few outside the intelligence community had ever seen so clearly. This story was also about the law. Section 702 was designed to target individuals outside the United States. But our communications all travel through the same global clouds. This raised serious questions about the incidental collection of American data, how that data was handled, and how long it could be kept. In practice, the physical path that data packets take through cables, caches, and clouds mattered just as much as the laws on the books. It was about the companies, too. In the wake of the MUSCULAR revelations, cloud providers scrambled to harden their internal links with strong encryption. They began encrypting not just user-to-cloud traffic, ensuring that all data transfers are secure and protected from prying eyes, but also the links between their own data centers. The industry moved fast because the documents made one thing explicit. Intelligence agencies were going where the data lived, not just staying at the edges. And of course, this was about Snowden himself, the contractor who left Hawaii, surfaced in Hong Kong, and eventually became stranded in Moscow when his U.S. passport was revoked in transit. Russia granted him asylum, and the standoff with the U.S. government hardened. A decade later, he remains one of the most polarizing figures in modern history, hailed as a whistleblower by some, condemned as a traitor by others, but impossible to ignore. So, what did it all add up to? One view is that the disclosures harmed national security by exposing lawful methods to adversaries. Another is that the sunlight forced a democratic system to finally debate powers it didn't even know it had delegated. This spurred court rulings, tech reforms, and a new public literacy about things like metadata, selectors, and upstream taps. Both of these things can be true at once. Adversaries adapted, and so did the public conversation. A decade on, the core lesson hasn't aged. Scale changes everything. How tools built for foreign intelligence inevitably collide with global platforms that don't recognize borders. When the network is everyone's nervous system handling our banking, our medicine, our relationships, our dissent, the difference between targeted and bulk collection isn't just a legal distinction. It's an architectural one. Snowden's archive didn't simply reveal a list of programs. It revealed a new physics of information, one where distance collapses, storage is cheap, and search makes the entire past and present on command. Whether you see that as necessary, dangerous, or both, the documents force the question into the public square. And maybe that is the point of this story. In an age when the entire world lives inside the same cables and clouds, accountability has to live there too. If you enjoy exploring stories like this, remember to like, subscribe, and stay curious. Another mystery unravels soon on NovusThread.